Hey guys, good to be with you. So we started this series a couple of weeks ago called FOO, or Family of Origin series. Now, this series has been sort of compiled over about 8 or 9 months, and so and each night the series probably takes about an hour. What I'm going to do is condense the 2 nights for you now on the video, and sort of jam it down into about one 40-minute session. That means we're going to miss out on a lot of stuff as far as like interaction of the audience and so forth, but I want you to get the point. Now the point is that this is about you understanding you, all right? So while this might be helpful for your spouse or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mum, your dad, your whoever, whatever, happy for them to look at it, but one of the ground rules right at the start of the whole series that we put out every single week is this is about you. This is about you taking time to look at how you operate, how you see your world, how you operate in your world. This is about you. If it happens to have an effect for somebody else as we go through this series, because some stuff will be relevant, some stuff will be irrelevant, that's okay. When you listen to these videos, you'll be able to go, oh, yeah, well, I'm kind of okay about that. That's all right, because next week's topic might be something that's really, pushing your buttons. And so just hang in there for the series and realise that the whole 6, 8, 10 weeks, whatever it is, isn't all about you. There are particular ones where we'll hit the ground, and it'll be the ones that you really need to be working on right now. And then as you get down the track, you might go, oh, man, this thing's come up in my life. You've got the video, you can go back and relook at it. Couple of ground rules for you. Confidentiality is really important. In the youth field and in anybody else's world, trust and confidentiality is really important. We make sure that every single night, as best to our ability, we say to all of our crew, confidential, whatever gets shared here stays here unless it's something illegal, and then we've got some legalities that we deal with there. But the confidentiality is really important. You don't have the right or the ability to take a liberty with somebody else's story. If I tell you a story about my life, I'm okay about you sharing it on with somebody else, but you can't embellish it or add or subtract to it. It's just my story. So I'd rather that you played the video about the story rather than try and make it up or invent it, or be suspicious about a story I tell you and go, oh yeah, and then add something to it, because then you could end up being detrimental to both me and to the people connected. Some of the stories that we talk about throughout the series, the names will be changed to protect the innocent, because there's people who don't want their story to be exposed, but are happy themselves to be exposed, but they're happy for their story to be told. And so I'll tell you some of those stories over the next few weeks. But it's really important to understand, again, watch the video, show the video, rather than try and reinvent the story. If the facts of the story affect someone's life or help someone's life, by all means, share them. But at the end of the day, just flick them the link to the video. That's the grouse part about this. Okay? So, just as long as we're clear about that, I don't want you going up to my family and going, oh, your husband shared, your dad shared. That's not cool. Again, this is not about you feeding back. I'm journeying this just like anybody else is. We're journeying this life together, and I want to hang out with people that have got it kind of together and are okay about who they are. If you're full of pride and if you're full of yourself, well, this will be a challenging series for you, and you may as well switch the video off now and go and play, because this is if you want life change, if you're stuck with something, you see something continuing to come up in your life or in your family environment, then this series is for you. It's a serious topic. All right, it's just a serious thing. If you're going to laugh at this and joke about this, we'll have some laughs and some tears over the next sort of few weeks. But if you're going to laugh at this, then switch it off. You're not ready. You're just not ready to own stuff that's going on in your life, and you're not ready to change. So if we're clear about that, then we can go forward. And we make that very clear on a Monday night with our guys. By the way, if you are between the ages of 12 to 25, this is my personal invitation to you. You are more than welcome to come on a Monday night to our Bridgebills office in Lilydale, where there's probably 40 or 50 guys, could be a few more now, coming on a Monday night, experiencing this series. It's a powerful series because everybody's intimately involved in the room. It's very protective and very caring and very sensitive to where you are. So come along, you are more than welcome. So let's get stuck into it so that we don't waste too much more of your time. Now, each week I'm going to invite you into a particular scenario. Week 1, we had a fake fire in the middle of our floor in our office, and I invited everybody to gather around the fire, and it was really cool, because I don't know about you, but when I go away or I'm at someone's house or a party or something like that, they've got a fire going on, there can be some long moments where nobody's actually talking. They're just looking into the flames and they're just reflecting, and find themselves beginning to kind of chill out a little bit, reflect, and just kind of, it's amazing. If in open fire, it's so romantic. Sometimes just open flame just creates that sense of just be at peace for a little while. And so this first part of this video is imagine yourself around the fireplace. Okay, that's how we are. We're going to be sitting sharing some stories, and hopefully some of the stuff that I share with you over this next little while adds value to your life. It will disturb you, all right? Some of it may even stir up anger, some of it may stir up hatred, some of it may stir up bitterness, all this sort of stuff. Some of it may even stir up joy and thankfulness as well, and gratitude and all these sorts of things. So it's really important that there's a good balance in all that we're talking about during this next few weeks together. And I really appreciate those of you that have been on my Facebook and said, Phil, can you video? We've got guys now, I've got people who can't make it to our Monday nights are saying, Phil, I need the video. I want to share it with my kids. I want to share it, myself, blah, blah, blah. Now here's the challenge, right? We've created an intimate environment to watch this particular video, or to talk about this particular series. If you want to watch this particular video in that environment, turn the lights out, get your computer screen up and click it on that, or put it on your big screen, whatever you like, and create an intimate environment that just feels it's about me talking to you about life and about where we are and what we're doing, where you are, because I really want to help you. And if I can, let's get into it. All right, let's get digging. Let's dig some dirt. So, the series we've got, of course, is it's called The Family of Origin. Where do we come from? And I'm not talking about apes, and I'm not talking about all that sort of stuff, although sometimes some of our families do behave like the Planet of the Apes, but, we're not talking about that. We're talking about, call it the FOO series, so we don't have to keep going family of origin, blah, blah, blah. Just call it FOO, right? So, and on the wall here behind me, of course, we have our tree, and the reason we've used the tree is because wherever we're planted and whatever we have our roots down into, out of that soil that we're in will bear fruit. And so you'll see over the next few weeks that this tree will begin to grow and develop and become more over these next few weeks. Now, in week 1, of course, we were just at ground level, stump level, and we're dealing with the stuff that lies beneath the surface. And it's very important that we deal with that, because there's some major root systems down inside us that have got a grip, that are drawing out of a particular bank or a particular reservoir that might not necessarily be the healthiest one. There are other root systems that are down that are really healthy, and you think, got to really strengthen those. So it's really important that we look at all of our root systems. Now, there's 2 perspectives that we want to look at, right? Really, it's like this. The way that we see our world and the way the world sees us is how we're going to sort of journey this. So, somebody says to me, "Oh, Phil, you're so good at this and so good at that," and I go, "Oh, no, I'm not. I'm really crap at that." And so I sort of deflect it away and sort of play it down as if it's like no, I'm not really good at that, but I really feel inside, I am really good at that. But if I was to say I'm really good at it, then I'm going to be full of pride and arrogant. Oh, he's so big noting himself, blah, blah, blah. In Australia, for some reason, we have this unusual ability to, first of all, we wonder why our young people in our family struggle with self-esteem. Well, it's because we're always pulling them down, isn't it? That sort of tall poppy stuff. Someone says, I'm really good at this. We're looking for something to take them out. And so if you wonder why your kids are struggling with self-esteem issues, maybe you'll learn to affirm a little bit more. And if you don't know what affirmation is, look it up on Google. It'll come out like that, and you'll think, oh man, I think I really do need to get on affirming my kids. And in particular, it's very difficult for men to affirm because they think it's kind of wussy and not manly. I'll tell you, it takes more strength and courage as a man to speak well of your wife, your girlfriend, your sons, your daughters, whatever it is. Become a man that learns a language of affirmation. So that's just a side note, that's a bonus. So, and a whole other topic we could talk about. So the challenge for us is that we're going to be looking at the root systems that exist within our lives, how we see our world, how our world sees us, And what we actually have to look at are the gaps. Now, I grew up in an environment that was not very affectionate. There was an alcoholic environment. There was a bit of violence going on, and there was debt, a lot of debt. And so at times there was people coming to our door, knocking on the door and repossessing cars and taking furniture and all that sort of stuff. And so, you know, scary stuff. When you're a kid growing up in that environment, you have no idea what that's building into you until later in life, and you wonder, hang on, why do I feel like this all the time? And so there's some real challenges. Now, with our young people on the first night, we did this interesting thing. On the right of your screen, you'll see that there are 3 words sitting on our wall here that says feel, do, so. I did a survey on the first night with all of our crew that was sitting there, and we asked this simple question: why am I so? You know? Why am I so depressed? Why am I so lonely? Why am I so anxious? Why am I so? Why am I so? And then the second question we asked is, why do I do these particular things? Why do I feel? Why do I feel so alone, so distant? Why do I feel so? Why do I do? Why do I feel? And why am I so? And for some of you, you might be thinking, I wish I was like that person or like that person. Maybe I look like that person, or whether I could act like that or be like that. This is not about that. This is understanding that deep within your DNA, you are meant to be you. You are designed a certain way. And there's a whole lot of stuff that has been put into your life or not put into your life that has made you the way you are. And if we don't deal with that, if we don't be honest about it, then it will affect the rest of your life. It's where the root system goes, and so what you're drawing out of, what the well is that you're drawing out, what the nutrients you're pulling into your life or not. Okay, so we surveyed all of our guys, and as we got the whole survey back, this was the responses they got. We mapped it all out, and we'll put this to our Facebook page so you can have a look at it. So just Bridge Builders Facebook, you get on there and have a look at it, and we'll put it up there. We asked them not to put their names on it. We asked them not to do anything as far as identify who they were. We just want them to respond to this particular topic, these 2 questions, those 3 words. And what was outstanding that when we got the stats back is how many, no matter whether they were introvert or extrovert, felt exactly the same way. So feelings like I'm insecure, so that we put it in, we actually was so much response, we actually were able to categorise it into insecurity, depression, anxiety, failure, and then we sort of had this miscellaneous column for, you know, stuff that, you know, people said that didn't quite fit in the other ones. But we were overwhelming with all of this, and you can see this. We'll put this up on our Facebook and you can have a look at it. It's quite fascinating. And things like, why do I feel so different? Why am I too dependent? Why am I so self-conscious? Why am I always anxious? Why do I feel so stupid? Why am I overthinking things? Now, if any of this relates to you, that's, you know, that's because you're human, all right? Why do I feel, why do I struggle with confrontation? Why do I need to be successful? Why do I always feel like I can't do things? So that's fascinating. And that was from all of the young people in the room. So you think, well, was my son there or that night, or my daughter? It doesn't matter about your son or your daughter at this point. This matters about you. So if you're a person that's reading or looking and listening to this video, then I want you to look at you. Take a moment, pause the video right here, pause the video and write down that simple thing. Why am I, feel, so, do, why do I? And then just write down what you are. No, don't sit there and go, oh, my boyfriend or my girlfriend, my brother, my sister, my mum, my dad, my husband, my wife, there. This series is about you. Along the way, if it assists someone else, just sit down and start to watch it. And if other people come and sit on the couch beside you, don't go nudging them and go, that's you. Just let them journey themselves. Let's just be respectful of everyone's space and realising there are some things that you may or may not know about it. And if you keep nudging someone, and they'll shut down and they'll probably walk away and then they'll stay stuck. So how about we get them unstuck, and you too. So these are the questions you've got to ask yourself. So just press pause on the video and you can begin to look at some things that you, and the reason I want you to write them down or pull out your iPad, put them on your iPad, your phone or whatever, your notes section of your phone, just begin to, over the next kind of few days, look at, oh man, there's that thing that just keeps coming up. There's that issue, there's that feeling, there's that, the thing I do, the so thing I do. Just write these things down, and so you can deliberately look at these things over the next kind of 6 to 10 weeks, however long this takes. And to be honest, we don't know how long the series is going to take, so I've sort of got to give it 8 or 10 weeks, but we will respond out of the responses responses that we get. So, and for all those that are Facebooking me and private messaging or texting me or emailing me, thanks so much. Over the next few weeks, some of it I won't answer that week or answer straight away, because it'll be part of the series, and I don't want to skim over the top of something like that. I'd rather take some time and give you a real quality answer, whether it comes from me or from some of the people who got involved. So, what I recognised is that as I grew up, there were certain things that I did as a kid that rolled out into my adulthood. For example, I grew up as I said, in an alcoholic home, and so there was a bit of violence and a bit of uncertainty at times, and so I developed patterns or behaviours in my life that were avoiding people knowing about aspects of my life, because they might judge me, shame me, make me feel guilty, all that sort of stuff. And so I learnt behaviours of being, for example, become the class clown at school, because I didn't want anybody knowing the truth, knowing how I was really feeling unsafe, insecure, uncertain, inferior, all those sorts of things. I just didn't want people to say I became this goose that everybody could just kind of dare to do something and fool do it, blah, blah, blah. That in itself had some consequences too, because I damaged myself at times that probably wasn't all that helpful. And so there was other behaviours that I developed, for example, which affected my learning. So because I was such a class clown, couldn't concentrate in school, it affected my learning, so therefore it affected the way that I couldn't interact at school or keep up with the schoolwork, so therefore I felt like I was an idiot all the time, so that I was dumb, and so therefore there was no point doing any of the schoolwork because I'm dumb. And my parents were very intelligent people, but just didn't quite know how to maybe dialogue about that sort of stuff with me. Now, the second thing, a couple of things that I was challenged with. I was a late developer, late bloomer they call it, which was often quite challenging at times. And so I would go into the sport or swimming competitions or whatever, and then into the change room was like the most freakiest experience ever, because it was like, all of these guys were, further down the puberty train than I was, and I was like in the caboose, that it was like taking all this time to catch up, and thinking one day this will happen. But what that actually did is it set up a set of behaviour of feeling insecure and uncertain about who I am and what I am, and even my body image, and so therefore I would hide or avoid or try and not be in certain environments, so that that I wouldn't be sprung, or I wouldn't be made fun of or laughed at. And so I developed behaviours around my body image that I was very self-conscious. Even to this day, I still at times am very self-conscious about body image. And so it's very challenging, those things that happened way back then, how you develop a pattern. The difficulty was I couldn't go home and talk about it, say, hey Dad, can you talk to me about puberty? Sex and sexuality and all that sort of stuff was not on the menu for discussion at home, I can assure you. We would, fart, and my mum would just about have a freak out, and so a human bodily function, and now in our home, you can't contain it. Everybody does it, and it's quite hilarious at times. There's appropriate moments for that, but there's also appropriate moments to talk about your young person's development, your development. And if you don't know who to talk to or how to talk about this with someone, it's very important that you do find someone, seek someone out that's trustworthy, confidential, and somebody that can give you some good advice. And usually a magazine or your mates aren't the best advice, all right? They might have some good advice. Now, trust me, there are some young people I know that are very wise, very much beyond their years in the way that they think and the way they see life and do life. And so I've been blessed to be around a lot of young people for a long time and seen the advice that they've given me. So, here's the other challenge for us. There's a chap by the name of Maslow. Now, Maslow developed this idea of these sort of 5 levels of development. You can just type into Google Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. You can have a look at it. It's quite fascinating. Now, it's in the shape of a triangle, or people call it a pyramid. Don't get spooked out about that. He never designed it like that. We humans have done this amazing thing. We've put it into this kind of pyramid idea or this triangle idea, and so therefore some people don't want to look at it because it's like, oh, it's too new age. It's in a pyramid. Like, for goodness sake, it's just a need. It's just a needs chart. That's all it is. It's got small writing at the top, large writing at the bottom, because that's the greater need at the bottom. narrows out. It just happens to do that, so somebody put it in a triangle just to make it easier to stick it on Google. Have a look at it. Anyway, in the midst of all of that, there is this incredible developmental strategies that he has looked at, that if a person doesn't develop those particular aspects of their life, a certain behaviour forms out of that. For example, if you're a person that struggles with decision making, the inability to make a confident decision for fear of failure or the wrong decision, that tells me that you grew up in an environment, and Maslow identifies this, that you grew up in an environment that didn't affirm or believe or trust you to make a mistake. So better not to make a decision about something in case you made the wrong one. Well, then you don't learn, you just stay stuck. And now if you don't develop the ability to make a decision through your life, then you will roll out into your adult life the inability to make a decision. And so you might relate like this. You might be in a shopping centre and you see it's end of financial year. There's a sale on, and there's 3 tops for the price of one. So there's $12. You can buy 3 tops for the price of one, and today I only do that. And you can stand and you can look at that and you can think, oh man, I'd really love those tops. That would be fantastic. And it's 3 for the price of one. That is great. That is a brilliant decision to buy that. And as you reach out, you might even grab the garments up and take them, and then all of a sudden within your gut you have this feeling that I'm being foolish with my money, or I really don't need these things. You're stuck right there in the 3rd layer of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, inability to make a decision. And that probably happened around sort of between your 14 and 16 years of age, where you were coming of age and trying to make some decisions about your life and were not affirmed in those particular aspects of your life. So then you became uncertain. You get wobbly about whether you can or can't make a decision because your mum or your dad didn't actually say, well, make the right decision. At the end of the day, and well, my life was, my mum and dad just said, well, make a decision and see what happens. The other extreme of that is that you could actually just make decisions about things not thought out or unwisely, and then the ramifications of that could have major impacts on you, your family and your lifestyle. But the reality is this: at some point you've got to make a decision. Now, neither one or the other is good or bad, so it's one extreme to the other. It's a matter of a good balance in the centre. And so the reality is for us is that we have got to develop in our adolescent years from 12 to sort of 20, 22, is develop the ability to grow certain aspects of our life so that we become healthier as we move into our life and relationships and life and work and all the rest of it. And so you might remain stuck. So the fact is, if you reach out and you grab that sort of garment, you think, all right, I really want this, I need this, I like this, and it's $12, it's a good decision. At the end of the day, it's a brilliant decision. It's 3 tops for the price of one. Boom, you want it? Take it. And at the end of the day, it's $12. It's like a Happy Meal or 2, So, you'd buy a Happy Meal without even thinking about it. You can buy a top, which is a good decision. But if you struggle with that, don't go looking at my mum and my dad and blame. This is not about blaming mum and dad or your brothers and your sisters or your husband, your wife. This is not about blame. This is about apportioning responsibility where these things are and identifying where the gaps are, And really, in all of our lives, there's gaps. All of us have lied at some point. Some of us cheated at some point. Some have done naughty things. We either overeat, overindulge, or we all kinds of things. And if somebody says to you, "I've arrived," and they say to you, "Oh no, I don't lie and I don't cheat and I don't do this," then they're a liar. All right, just saying. Every human on the planet has a stuck point, something that they're not real good at. And so if they're saying I'm pretty well rounded, then then they're a fibber. So let's talk about it for a moment. This is an interesting word. Some weeks back I put this up on my Facebook and you got a great response from it. The word should. Now the word should, we have sort of been playing with this word for the past sort of 2.5 weeks, and every time we hear the word should, everybody's heightened to this word now, should. Oh, you should I? Oh yeah, you should. And so there's this word should going around. Now should simply means that somebody else's beliefs or ideas or thought processes are being put on you to manipulate you to respond out of 2 things, shame and guilt. This is an interesting little thing. If you can get this little bit out of all the video that we're going to do today, if you can get this little bit right, this may help you significantly move forward in your life. My dad used to say this. He used to come home and the bins were full in the house, and he would say, someone should empty the bins. Silence. You know, someone really should empty the bins. Now, the person that feels the guiltiest or the most shamed and wants to be the performing child and wants to be, you know, get all the good juice from the mum and dad saying, yeah, you know, oh, such a lovely child, they will be the first one that responds. Boom, straight up off the couch and go, it's all right, I got it, I'll do it. It's because they're manipulated out of two things, shame and guilt. Now, guilt says you're doing something wrong, so stop doing it. Now, if you're sitting on the couch watching telly and the parent comes in and says someone should empty the bins, you're sitting there thinking, I must be doing the wrong thing, sitting here watching telly, so I better get up and respond. Shame, on the other hand, says that you're a bad person. That says there's nothing good within you, so you're bad, and you're never going to be any good at anything. That's shame. We operate a lot of our lives out of those two streams, shame and guilt. I tell you what, you can be free from it. During this series, you're going to get free from those two things. And I'll tell you, here's a clue on how to do it. There are two words that you need to put alongside should. The reason for that is as you grow older, you realise that there's two reasons you do things. You need to do them because that's about responsibility, or you want to do it because that's about desire. I remember my grandmother, a long time ago, was sick in hospital, and I come home, parents and others would say, you should go and visit your grandmother. I go, well, why should I go and visit my grandmother? I don't want to go and visit my grandmother. No, you should. Why should you? Well, because you're part of the human race, and that's what humans do. You know, humans look out for one another, and so you should. And I go, really? Well, why don't you? And they said, well, I should. I go, well, you should. And so there's this should war becomes on, but imagine if we did this though. Imagine if just for a moment you took a step back and you went, okay, I need to or I want to. Now, your grandmother, hopefully you love your grandmother. If you don't, that's going to be a challenge. But if you love your grandmother, I want to go and see Granny. I want to go and hang out. I want to take her chocolates, no matter how bad she smells. I want to go and love her and hang out with her and cuddle her. And even if she's got furry whiskers on your face and she scratches your face as you kiss her, it's fine. I want to go and see Granny because Granny might not be around too much longer. And so it'd be really important to do that. That's the want, desire. I want to be with my girlfriend. I want to be with my husband or wife, my kids, my sons, whatever it is. I want to be with my friends. It comes out of desire. I want a new video game. I want the new phone. See, that's all about desire. Now, need, on the other hand, is about responsibility. I need to take the bins out because I live in a home and I'm a consumer within that home, and it's my responsibility to contribute at some point. So this is not a video, parents, where you take it and say, see what he said. This is about allocating responsibility. So within your home, it might be need to do the washing, otherwise you're going to have no towels and no clothes. Need to do it. It's about responsibility, if we understand that. Not about should. If we can change our language just around those three words, should, need, want, you will find yourself being freer from being manipulated out of shame and guilt just by using these three ideas. Someone says to you should, step back. Don't be agitated and aggravated with them and get all up in their face and you tell me should. You know, it's not about that. This is about need and want. It's about identifying how much of our human communication is about manipulation of guilt and shame. And the two things that you can do here, need and want. I need to do that because it's my responsibility. Or I want to do that because it's about desire. Okay? So, really important, the next step then is to have a balanced life. And, you know, you look at the scales and you get all funny about it, just move on. Right, I learned a long time ago about the word honour. Now, the challenge to me in this, and this is going to make sense with our tree in a moment, is that I grew up in the later part of my years in a Christian home, and so there was this idea of honour your mother and your father, you know, and you should show your mother honour, should show your mother honour, you should show your dad respect, all those sorts of things. Well, no, I need to and I want to. That comes out of desire. I want to because I love them and I'm for them. And I need to because that's how we live as a family unit. But the scales are about honour, weighing up that which is good and that which is not so helpful in every individual's life. And you can apply this scales before you take the set of scales and apply it, oh, mum and dad are like this and like that. Take the scales to your own life for a moment and say, okay, what am I good at and what am I not so good at? And realise that in this environment things are going to work out well. In this environment things aren't going to work out so well. So that keeps you as a balance, and you realise what you could or could not be doing with your life, or what is just, don't be ridiculous. You know, if you're going to go and do something that you're no good at, you're crap at, then don't bother getting into it. So the reality is weighing it up. The next part is to then take it and look at your mum and dad, or your brothers and sisters, your husband, wife, whatever it is, and say, you know what, they are good at this. Now, my dad was a great worker, and he was a great public speaker, and I only found out that he was a great public speaker at his funeral. Ridiculous. His best mate gets up and spoke to everybody in the audience, and showed how Dad was an amazing public speaker. And at the end, people came up to me and said to me, "Oh man, you are so like your father. You're just your public speaking champion." And I went, there was part of me that started to really resent the fact that I didn't ever know that was what he was good at, nor did he take the time to actually build that into me. But somehow this thing has morphed in my life at some level or another, where other men and women have built into my life that particular aspect, that gifting that's in there, that has now been able to have an opportunity to grow. That's why we're talking to you now. And so, but I never knew that until he died. So he was 70 odd, and then he died, and I found that out. How is that possible? Well, that's just how it is. So Dad was great at public speaking, but he was really crap at affection. Didn't quite know how to give his wife and kids affection, affirmation, love, tenderness, all that sort of stuff. Didn't. So there was his lack, you know. And so, but when I look back on his generations, it was all the way back. Brothers, sisters, everybody was almost very similar to that. And so now for me, I decided a long time ago that wasn't going to be my scenario for myself and my sons, and so I was going to love on them and just encourage them, affirm them, embrace them. And I've done that all the way through their lives right now, and they're in their 20s, and both of them are 6'3", and they love me and I love them, and we cuddle all the time and we say, well, I love you, you know. So really important to weigh up. Be balanced. So honour isn't about just doing whatever they tell you. To honour your parents, well, why should I do that? Why should I do that? You're right, it's about need to or want to. It's your responsibility in your home, or as part of the family unit, or I want to because I'd love this family and I want to be part of and doing that sort of stuff. So as we look at the tree here of our lives, and we look at what fruit are we about to bear, we've invited people around the campfire just to reflect on some of these root systems that go deep into their soul and deep into who they are, the fabric of who they are, and where the gaps are. You will also develop, here's the challenge part, you will also develop roots into negative behaviours that as you develop those or enable those negative behaviours over and over and over, that root system will actually become stronger. It'll actually become a stronghold. An addiction is where that comes from. A behaviour that you find yourself looping in all the time. Depression, anxiety, it becomes a stronghold, right? And so, for example, they give you antidepressants in order to restrict the flow of that particular endorphin in your body to stop you from feeling depressed. They restrict the flow of it. And that's exactly what we have to do here, is stop allowing the root system to draw from that particular pond, out of that particular area. And it's guaranteed, you will strengthen dependency issues in your life or challenged areas in your life, because if you keep rehearsing them, you will get better at them. You will become a master of depression. You will become a master of the avoidance of decision making. You'll become a master of all of these kind of things, and you think, why am I so like this? Well, because you practiced it. Over and over and over, you practice. The same is also true if you practice the opposite of that. Being more affirming, being okay, about sharing, about loving, about tenderness, you'll become more that way. That's just life, you know. So if you're planted yourself in a stagnant pond, you will become a stagnant tree. Nasty fruit will come out of your life because you're planted in a stagnant area. I had a friend of mine who used to grow pumpkins, and he thought to himself, I wonder if I could sweeten the texture of a pumpkin. I said, how do you sweeten a pumpkin? You just throw the seeds in the ground, and most of the time you can just grow it in the water, just about pumpkins. And so he said, I know what I'll do. And he took a knitting needle and he stuck a hole through the stem of a pumpkin, and he attached wool to it, and then wool he dropped down into a bowl or a container of sugared water. fascinating. It was absolutely fascinating. So this wool acted as like this kind of feeder into the stem that went into and he had the most unbelievable pumpkins, these sweet pumpkins. And I just thought, why would you not market this thing? He said, oh, it's just an experiment. It's the same is true. If you insert something into the root system that's drawing from some particular aspect, you'll get a different result. It's just how it is. Right, so I want to encourage you that this is not about, oh, I've heard this video, job's right. You're going to have to, that's why I've asked you to write it down. So you can write down on one side of your sheet the column of this is what the stuff I struggle with. Now you've got to write down on the other side of there, what are you going to do to counter it, to begin to feed in a sweetness, something that's going to draw back or restrict the flow of that thing in your life. Are you going to put yourself, if you're an isolated person, are you going to begin to put yourself in more sort of community environments? Oh, but I'm afraid. Of course you're afraid, because you've allowed that root system to become so strong. So quite fascinating, in Australia we have an accelerating rate of young people with social phobia. How is that even possible? With all of the technology, phones, Facebooks, Twitters, you name it, with the technology of social media, we've become antisocial. We can connect with a whole lot of people around the world, and yet we don't ever meet with them. It's quite fascinating. So then when we actually meet with them, it's kind of frightening, like, you know. So the challenge for us is this. If you become more and more antisocial, that root system will become a real stronghold in your life. So therefore, take a risk. If you're not at Bridge Builders and you're 12 to 25, it's my personal invitation to you to come along on a Monday night. Just come here. It takes great courage. Restrict the flow of the thing that's stopping you from experiencing socialisation in your world and get along. Just walk through the door. It's hard, I know, it's freaky and scary and everybody's going to be looking at you and judging you and all. No, that's your internal perspective. External goes, oh, new person, and that's our team will embrace you and love you and drag you on in, put you as part of one of our crew and our tribes and just make you feel like, oh, you have a decision to make whether you want to actually experience that or not. It's up to you. Anyway, moving on. The bottom line here is you've got a whole lot of stuff. This is a law. If you put something in your efforts into a particular aspect of your life, that will grow and become a stronghold. Negative or positive, that's just how it is. You can't avoid it. So if you think there's negative behaviour in your life, they're going to need to counter that by starting to do some positive behaviour. If you don't know what positive behaviour is, ask an honest friend. Just saying. If you struggle with decision-making processes, right, recognise that way back in your journey, you got stuck somewhere. We're all stuck somewhere in something, okay, in our lives. None of us have arrived. None of us are complete. None of us have got this kind of all wrapped together. So, in week one, that was what we sort of covered off on. Just getting the fundamentals right. What are we drawing down on? What's the nutrients in our life? What's the root systems in our life? Whether you have a mum or a dad is neither here nor there. All you got to understand is that if your dad's missing in your world, there's going to be a lack. Find a good man